welcome to Live, Laugh, Lol.
We've got cancer.
Yay.
So we've got to stop saying yay or woohoo at the end. We've got to just leave it. Whoops. Jinx. So, do you want to go?
Yeah, we could do. So this is the second half of answering your questions. We are just going to dive straight in. We're not going to go for how's your week been, because we've got so many questions to answer.
Just tidying up and making me look a little bit more central. So perfect. Okay, yeah, we are.
So we finished the last episode on what friends and family can do to help. So we were talking about food and
research. And we had a couple of people asking that same question about what friends and family can do. Covered food, covered research being a big one. And the other things we thought that we didn't say is like support in these fundraisers we're doing and donating. So I just did the moonwalk, and everybody that did it with me got in touch and was like, oh, do you think I can do it with you? Which was really unexpected, but really, really nice. And when I did the Prevent one in October, it started as I did a run with Mark. It was run a mile a day in October. I ran a mile with Mark, fine, whatever. And then it was like October the 2nd, my cousin Sally was coming up with me, and she could only do the middle of the day. And I was like, I've marked this time out to do my run. Do you want me to do it before you get here, or do you want to do it with me? She was like, I'll just do it with you. So I was taking a picture at the end of every run to document that I'd done a mile a day. And after the one with Sally went up, people said, oh, can I do one with you? Can I do one with you? And I ended up having someone for every single run. And it was so nice.
That's so good.
It was so good. And that meant the world. It was not, I don't know what people think. I don't know if some people think, oh, she's asking particular people. I'm not asking anyone. People literally just were getting in touch being like, I'll do one. And it was the nicest thing that anyone could do. But I appreciate not everyone can, especially because I've chosen some fitness ones so far, and that's not everyone's jam. But even kind words and donating, been really generous, and it's really kind, and it's so nice when people donate to the charity, because it's that little sign that people see you, they appreciate what's going on, and they're doing what they can to support you through that. So that's lovely.
Yeah, and you had a good team that did the moonwalk as well. So people just joined on to that. Yeah,
people just joined on. Even like one person joined on just a few weeks before it happened.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's all been really lovely. And then the other thing we were going to say is everyone that messages.
Yeah, so that's really lovely. Like when you first get diagnosed and you start to tell people, everyone obviously wants to be there for you and like tell you that they're thinking of you and message and check in on you, which is really great, but then it can also be a bit overwhelming. So I think usually I was very good at replying to messages quite quickly just when I see them, but now it gets to the point where I leave a few of them on read for a while because it's a lot.
My eyes are watering at the sound of the admin. I don't know what's happening to my eyes. But I was going to say the same. So someone had warned me of this. It's called like cancer message admin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And well, that's what someone said to me. And it's a real thing. It was the nicest thing that so many people got in touch. And I was like the proudest person that I had all these messages. And of people that I haven't spoken to in so long, like old school friends and stuff, getting in touch, people from abroad getting in touch. It was the nicest thing. But I became like unable to message everyone. There was so much going on, obviously, when you've got a first diagnosis, like your mind is boggled.
Yeah.
There's so much to do. And even after that, there was so much I did in terms of research with like food, diet, treatments, and then with surrogacy, there was so much admin with that I never really got to reply to loads of people. And the people I did reply to were the people I was seeing. So if I knew I was seeing someone on Monday, I had to text them to be like, okay, what time and where?
Yeah.
But the people who are sending messages, I didn't reply. I did that standard thing, we've all done it, where you say, oh, I'm not going to reply yet because that was so nice. I don't want to just fob them off. I'm going to sit down and give them a proper reply.
Yeah.
And I would do that, and then it got overwhelming, so many lovely messages, and that I did not get back to people. I feel bad about that, but it's still in my to-do list in my mind. Like, one day I'm going to go and read all of those messages properly again and get back to people properly.
And it's one of those things people won't necessarily mind. And we're not saying don't message someone.
We love
the
messages.
Diagnosed.
No, I love the messages.
Great.
The messages are amazing, and the messages are needed.
Yeah.
But don't worry if the person doesn't reply.
Yeah.
It's not about, I don't think you'd think this anyway, but my worry is that people think I don't care. And I'm like, I really care. And I so appreciate it. I just, like, every message has been taken in and valued. It's just I've not been able to respond to them all.
Yeah.
And some people sent gifts and like cards through the post. I had loads of flowers.
Yeah.
And every day when you get in and there was a little gift or a card.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
It's so lovely, and it really makes you feel like you're being thought of. And that's all you can really, I think that's all that really made the difference. Like, I'm being thought of.
So, yeah, going back to what you were saying about everyone joining in with you and you not having to ask them to do that, I think that is quite a good point for friends and family, because a lot of people will say, oh, let us know what we can do to help. But actually, sometimes it's better if someone just says, like, let me come to an appointment with you, or let me come round and see you, or like being assertive and saying the things that you can do to help, rather than just asking vaguely, because sometimes it's just really hard to know what you want in the moment, and then you know, reaching out and asking for stuff all the time.
You know, everyone's being genuine when they say, let us know what they got. We completely know it's genuine, but it's hard to actually then
to know what you need, and
it is hard to know what you need.
Yeah. So.
And then by the time you realise what you need, like someone for that appointment tomorrow, it's a bit like, oh, I left it too late. It's tomorrow, never mind. Help, but we really appreciate everybody in our lives.
Yeah, we do.
There's nothing like a little bit of cancer to make you feel incredibly loved.
Yeah, and that brings us nicely onto another question.
Go on.
Which was, what's the best thing that's come out since the diagnosis, and what positive things have happened?
There's nothing like a little bit of cancer to make you feel really loved.
Yeah, having all of the support from your friends and your family, and friends that will now make the effort when, like, to travel over to see you, or when before it'd be a bit more like, oh, you know, we've got loads of time, we'll just book something in the summer or whatever. Now I've found that friends are really much more
on it.
Let's get together, let's do this, which is really nice. It means that you're surrounded by love.
That is so true. I think it was the day after my surgery, and I'd seen a lot of my friends up in Leeds and my family. Everyone had been great. But I had a couple of friends in London that were a bit panicked since I'd told them my diagnosis, and they hadn't seen me yet. And they really wanted to come and see me, which obviously was great. But they ended up coming the day after the surgery, which was so great because I was home and I was fine and I loved the company. And it felt really special. They came all the way up from London, spent a few hours with me at my house, and then they went away again.
Really?
Yeah. And it was crazy because it was like there was so much going on, and I think they nearly didn't come because, oh, well, she's just had surgery. Will it be too much? But it was like, wow, what a flood of love. And not everyone can do that, and it didn't mean that I didn't think other people cared less or whatever, because everyone showed their love in such different ways. But it was such a crazy, it felt like a bit of a whirlwind, and such a lovely thing to do. But it was also a bit, and I reckon from your friends maybe as well, I feel like there's a bit of panic in the air. Like, we must see Becky.
Maybe,
before she pops the clogs. When all my colleagues at my current job are incredible, and I am so lucky to work with them, and it's a small team, and it's really a tight team, and everyone's the best. And shortly after my diagnosis, they're like, we must do something all together. So obviously that sounds great. And we did loads of different activities all in a morning. We did an escape room, we did shuffleboard, we did darts, we went for lunch. it was a real jam-packed day.
Yeah.
And a part of me was like, are they all worried that if we don't do it all today that I'll die by the next time we get to planning something?
Quick, she's never going to be able to make darts again.
We should do it now. And it was the nicest thing, and I felt so wrapped up in bubble wrap and taken care of and loved. And it was a lot, and I was a bit like, they think I'm about to die for sure. But it was the nicest.
Yeah, that is good.
Thing, yeah.
And other positive things, I guess, meeting each other.
Go on then, yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting each other was so good.
Look at all the great things that have come out of it, guys.
We're now famous podcast stars.
Yay.
It was so we're so lucky.
Yeah.
That we did find each other, and we've got similar vibes about the whole cancer journey.
Exactly, because that's when I knew I wanted to have like a support network or something. So that's why I went to the Shine event.
Yeah, me too.
And then just finding someone that you hit it off with.
Just straight away. We love it. We just found each other and stopped it there.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't been to an event since.
No, I went to one.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
I haven't though.
But then we were going to go last week and we didn't go to that either. Whoopsies. But we do encourage it and think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
My dad said this thing, and it's about how it's like a religious thing, and I'm going to mess it all up now. And it's the idea of God helping, right? And how, like, if God was helping, would I be cured of cancer or something along the lines of that? And the point of this is that your help from God, like if obviously he's omnipresent and is not a physical being, comes from many hands, is the point of this. I'm probably making a hash of it. But the support and love comes from many hands. And that really resonated with me because of how many people got in touch and showed me love in any which way, that I was like, I do feel like I've been supported so much by these many hands. So that was that just kind of,
maybe you wouldn't have felt that if you did. Well, we wouldn't have felt that if we didn't have this diagnosis.
One of my friends said to me, and it was amazing and funny, she said something like, I mean, I'm not jealous because they want cancer, but all the friends are getting in touch with you.
Everyone's making for you.
Yeah, I know.
And not me.
I was like, don't be so jealous. But it was meant in like the friendliest way. But it's kind of true. Like everyone got in touch. Whether I knew them when I was little, whether they're abroad, people from abroad that you don't speak to often enough.
Yeah.
All keeping in touch really regularly. Friends from school I haven't talked to in years.
Yeah.
It's just really nice.
Yeah.
And each and every message or comment or like on an Instagram page or whatever on YouTube, it really does mean something.
Yeah, we appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. So yeah, there's lots of positives, really.
Yeah, each other and love. God, we are so... What are we... What's the word for us right now? In our feels. We're so feeling people.
We're in our fields.
There is a phrase. There is a word, menopause. There is a word for people... I don't know what your excuse is. There is a word for people that, like, we're such emotional...
That's definitely not a word.
I was going to say an empath, and then I thought, no, that's not what I mean.
Emotional.
Yeah, whatever. We are those people now.
We are.
So just know that. We can move on from that horrible mess.
So any surprises? So that kind of came from not knowing that you couldn't have like massages and stuff when you had cancer. So the question was, are there any other surprising things like that have come out that you weren't expecting?
And we said, because obviously the massages was a big shock, like what is going on there?
Yeah.
And we said we've both been told we're not allowed grapefruit.
Yeah, because it messes with... Which
treatment.
Also goes back to some of our points in the food episode where we're like, people will tell you it doesn't matter what you eat, food is irrelevant. Oh, but don't eat grapefruit because it could mess up all of your drugs.
It could really change everything.
So actually it does make
it really does. Grapefruit's the number one.
Yeah.
Don't have it. It impacts your treatment. But I was about to say for you as well, and I'm going to make a hash of this again, and then you're going to have to correct me. Apologies in advance.
Go for it.
Something about the angiogenesis and antioxidants.
Oh, yes. So this was a thing because people tell you like supplements and having antioxidants is so important for cancer, get rid of the free radicals, etc. But an oncologist told me that actually chemo works by causing oxidative stress. I don't know how that really works, but if you're taking then supplementing highly with a load of antioxidants, it might actually mitigate the effects of the chemo. And so, but I don't know how researched that is either. So that has made me a little bit
cautious.
Yeah, cautious to take any of these extra supplements and extra antioxidants and all this good stuff that you see online, because I'm like, the last thing I want to do is undermine all the chemo that I'm going through.
I find this stressful. My friend was like, you should take Heights, the supplement brand, and it's like probiotics, whatever. And I think it's a really good thing to do if you're unhealthy. So I was running everything.
I took them for a while.
Did you? There you go. And I took everything by my oncologists, as a very good patient does. But they just said no to everything. But some things there's good reasons for, and some things it's just that it's not being evidenced.
And so they don't know, so they're too nervous to say yes.
So they say no. Rather than saying I don't know, they just say no. And so, oh my God. So I was like, I would like to have... I've read that I should have ashwagandha as one of like a good... I don't even know what it does, but someone said have ashwagandha. And I said, okay. So then I went to my breast cancer nurse, can I have ashwagandha? And then she was like, we don't know. We're going to go to the oncologist. The oncologist said, no, do not have ashwagandha. And then I realised that the tea bag I have every night called a peace tea has ashwagandha in. And then I panicked because I love my peace tea at night time. And so do I care about ashwagandha? So then I asked again about ashwagandha, and it turns out the reason they were so strict on not having it was because there's just no research to say you should have it or shouldn't have it. But get this. Because there's no research, they say do not have it. Alcohol, where there's plenty of research to say it's not good for your body.
Yeah.
If you need alcohol, you need to have your alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. Just in moderation. Obviously, they're not saying go be a drunk mess. But if you need that, have it. Ashwagandha, now that could really be the straw
Tip you over the edge.
the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's mental. So anyway, I have, based on my own decisions, and I'm not condoning this because of how dangerous it could be, we just don't know. I'm having ashwagandha tea bags.
Fab.
But it's all the same stuff with all the supplements.
Yeah. One of the things, going back to the Zoe blood sugar glucose monitor thing, another surprising thing from that, chamomile tea absolutely tanked my blood sugar, and I have no idea why. It was a real big inverted dip.
Well, that's good if you
go hypoglycemic.
But maybe if you should have chamomile tea when you have bread.
Yeah,
maybe that's a way of having carbs. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna try it.
That was odd. I didn't expect that, but it really was a massive spike down for chamomile tea. So,
and my
obviously they do stuff,
and they definitely do stuff. And my surprise on Zoe was chickpeas. I've given up all my carbs, so I'm a lentil chickpea beast now. Can't have chickpeas because my glucose goes just skyrocket.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm glad I know, because there's no point swapping out one food for another when it's not even right. But it is a little bit annoying. That is,
really limiting our food choices.
Yeah. There's probably more stuff, but I can't think of anything that's a surprise.
Yeah, me neither. And we did have a similar question from a new fan.
We love it. Hello, new fan.
Hello, new fan. Are there things from your clinical journey that you haven't really
been aware of?
Made aware of?
For example, like I think this is like, for example, you know when you hear of people having rushed C-sections and they have to sign their life away really quickly and in a scary situation, but actually if you stop to think, what is it that you're agreeing to? But I would say when you have to sign all the paperwork for surgery and for chemo, particularly chemo, you have a whole meeting where they talk you through every single side effect.
Yeah.
And they're very much like, 1 in 10 people will get this.
Yeah.
1 in 100, same for ribociclib people. So 1 in 100 will get a really big problem with their hearts that might last forever. And you're like, those odds sound quite high. But then they're like, but the cancer is worse.
Yeah, they literally, for my last treatment, the treatment that I'm on now that I get every 2 weeks, they were like, it might cause some of your organs to start joining up with each other.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know if it's actually that, because that was a result of the trial, or actually sometimes bowel cancer might just make that happen anyway. So then I was like ultra panicked, because then I was like, it was basically like my stomach might make a little tube to my intestine.
By tubes. And so the cancer could spread through the tubes.
Well, yeah, and it's also like, what does that mean though? That's the thing when you're like, if it's in my bones, what
does it mean?
Like,
do I care if they're all connected by tubes?
Yeah, what happens? Because surely my stomach's already connected to my intestines, so do I care if it makes another tube?
And the answer is we don't know.
Apparently I should care, because they gave me it as a warning of this treatment. So, but you don't have any choice really. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, they give you it all.
I'd rather not risk that. Okay, well, off those clogs go then.
For surgery, you have to sign. I don't remember if I signed it all pre the day of surgery, but when you go in for surgery, you sign everything again. And when you're like, we're already here, and they take you to the room. I think it was an anaesthetist that took me to a room, and she goes through all the problems that can happen under anaesthetic, and basically saying like there is a chance you could die, and you're like, well, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And like the other thing is if you don't do it, they're like the cancer will get you. So
yeah,
guess I'll just go for the surgery, which was fine. I didn't overthink that one, so that was fine. But I can see how maybe you're not in the right headspace to really make these decisions, but we do.
Yeah. But I think the question was like, is there anything that's been kept from you? But I don't think
anyone's kept anything. I think the other thing was, have family and friends. That was the other part of that question. Have family and friends kept anything from you? And the only thing for me is when Mark and I were away and we got the phone call to say it was in the bones, we agreed we wouldn't research it because it sounded scary. And I later found out he had researched it and it was scary. So he didn't share it with me. So I know there's some things that people don't share. I think when I first found out it was in the bones, a lot of people started researching bone cancer. And that came up with really not great results because of, I think it was like breast cancer and bone cancer, 2 primaries or something. I don't quite know what was researched, but it wasn't quite right what was researched because mine's breast in the bone. And I think people kept stuff from me then because it sounded so scary.
Yeah, I think that's another thing actually, is I think people purposely kept things from me, but in a good way. Like, I would ask people, because I don't want to Google things, and that's another question actually, like, do you purposely not Google? And the answer is yes. Or I will very tentatively, I'll just Google for like Cancer Research UK, and then go on that website and see what's on there about bowel cancer. But people will deliberately, if I'm asking a friend to like, oh, will you just Google this for me, but I don't want to Google it myself because I don't want to see all the negative and the scary things that come out, could you just Google it and give me a positive summary? That is
just lie.
That's quite helpful, because there's so much on there that's like worst case scenario, and you just don't want to see it.
Yeah, they do tell you at the beginning, do not Google, and at least my oncologist was very specific, like, don't go Google. All the breast cancer nurses were, but you can use Cancer Research UK. But I'm the same as you. I would ask a friend to do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
And another helpful thing actually that a friend did was just finding positive stories of people in my situation.
I had the same.
Yeah.
Sending, look, this person survived, this person did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how I even found out that people with stage 4 cancer can come out of it. There are stories that people have been cured. Yeah. Whereas before that, even though I had both of my parents that had died of cancer, I thought the NHS line of stage 4, that's it.
Yeah, well, not surprised.
Incurable.
Yeah.
Whereas then, like, no evidence of disease, I hadn't heard of that before either. But that was from a friend Googling and being like, you know, it might not be exactly the same, it might not be your specific cancer, but here's an example of someone in stage 4 that has come out of it. And just that little positive story, I was like...
So, another question was...
How has the journey affected relationships with your family?
So, for me, I'm probably closer to my family. We were really close anyway, so it's probably not a thing of being closer, but I see more of them because I have more time.
Yeah.
Me and Mum were in a Daily Mail article.
Yeah.
Mother and daughter
Media training.
Media training, honestly. And one of the things I learned from that is that she holds on to some guilt, because I guess with a cancer, I think I don't think this, but I can understand it. It's like, is it the food? Is it the activity? Is it the pollution in the air? It's like, did I have some control over what, and could the outcome have been different? And I think that that's been tough, but actually it's all okay. And you don't do those things, do you? Because you don't think it will end up. If it well, it's not like she was feeding me something like this turns out to be cancer.
Yeah,
you're just eating. So, and there isn't any research out. So there's absolutely no reason to have those feelings.
Yeah, and there's nothing that she could have, or
anyone, or me too. I mean, I left home at 18 for uni, and I'm now 34. So quick maths, 16 years have gone by, and I could have probably fed myself different things. You know, It didn't come from childhood, I'm sure, because otherwise it just wouldn't look like this, I don't think.
No.
Anyway, so that was interesting from her point of view, and that's hard for her to manage.
Yeah.
But the other thing is my relationship with Mark. When we got the eggs frozen, I think I might have said this before, they insisted on eggs in case Mark and I broke up.
Yeah.
Because of breast cancer being a thing that makes people break up, because it's a lot. And I would say that the cancer's just made Mark and I closer and stronger than ever. So he's been incredible. But something we were talking about recently, you know, with the whole surrogacy thing, is Mark has to seriously consider being a single father in the future, which is tough. And he has to look at what life looks like without me. So I might have to look at my own sadness of like life continuing without me. But he has to look at, but I'm not there then. He has to look at him still being around, but with his life completely changed with me not there.
Yeah.
So and especially when it comes to thinking about surrogacy and kids. So there's a lot for him to think about, including like, who is he without me? You know, we need to have our separate identities and all of that. If the worst was to happen to me, what goes on in his life and who is he? And I think that that's a really important thing to do. I think we all need to have that really anyway, feel sure about ourselves. But Mark and I have been together since we were 20.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have been together for such a long time that it is probably quite tough to imagine that. And it's like we were saying about the money thing, like you don't want to have to, we're medical marvels.
We're medical marvels.
But
the undercurrent.
You have to plan in a way for the worst case scenario, and so those thoughts are naturally going to come
You have
up,
to be a bit wary. So he has to, it's hard because he's going to have to figure out who he is, which is a journey he's going to I'm so American.
Yeah.
Which is something. He's going to go find himself. It's just something he has to do. Anyway, so he's going to go do that, which is great. But in my reality, there is that thing of he has to get prepared for if I die, which is there doesn't need to be any emotion attached to that, which means that's a good thing, and he should, and I would rather that, because the worst thing for me could be that anyone that I love was just sad. I just want everyone to get on and have happy lives. But it also is tough because you're like, I know it's the right thing, but I didn't think we'd be in the position where
of course,
you have to make sure you're in the best position for if I die. It's like there is that little bit of prep, which is good, but
that's
a shame.
a
It's
real
sad.
tough situation. Thanks, cancer.
Thanks, cancer. Thanks for making us explore all of these emotions.
I know, bloody hell. I mean, if it has brought you guys closer together, then that's great, because you're actually having to have so many of these conversations and
it has.
deal with all this tough stuff. They do say that, makes you stronger.
I know, and I think some people look at me from the outside, and I think they
as opposed to the inside.
As opposed to the inside, and exactly that. And I think they worry that I am just bobbing along, pushing for the next thing, pushing for surrogacy and all of this, and I'm not understanding and contemplating the seriousness of bad timing. Bad timing, computer.
That is always bad timing.
It really is.
When it comes down on my friend's newborn baby, that was the worst.
That was the best. just for bad timing.
Yeah.
Like comedy value. But it's distracted me. I now have no idea what I was saying.
Yeah, sorry.
Something about Mark and how he's great. Mark's great, people.
Yeah. I've only known him briefly, but I can confirm he is great.
He is great. That's such a shame. If it comes back, I'll tell you.
Know. Slightly
different question on dating.
Yeah, that was another one. Dating and cancer. And I wish I had the answer to this because I'm single and probably should be dating.
Ready to mingle.
But dating was a minefield before I got this diagnosis, so I haven't even tried since.
I think there's something to be said. I'm not dating, obviously. But I've had this feeling anyway, and I think we've talked about this before, that you can feel a bit uninvestable.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to put their time in with you if you might then leave them sad?
Yeah, and it's like, and how do you even approach explaining that to someone? Like, hey, because people get the ick from, like, if someone wears their hat the wrong way around. You know what I mean? Let alone me saying, let's spend the rest of our lives together. It might be 6 months.
Might not even be that long. You might as well. That's what's tough as well, because we don't know when you should say it.
Yeah,
do you say it on the bio? Do you say it?
God, and the world of dating apps now, you can't just write, "Lol, I've got cancer."
You can say, "What do you enjoy doing? Doing a podcast about cancer."
What do you do in your spare time? Go to the hospital.
Go to appointments. Yeah, it's all. What do you talk to your counsellor about? My cancer diagnosis. It's all a bit, I don't know,
it's so hard to tackle.
But I was talking to a friend about this, and I was saying about the word uninvestable, and I've experienced it as well during the journey, but not with dating. But you do feel like, why does anyone want to waste time on me and on this when you might not be around? It was crazy, even at the very start. I was like, what's the point in shopping? Can you believe it? I love shopping so much. I don't know what happened to me.
I've literally just taken the tags off this top for the pod.
New top from TK Maxx. I love shopping, and obviously I've rectified that awful wrong that I was feeling. But I was like, what's the point in new clothes? What's the point? It's a waste of money. I'm not even going to be around to wear them, blah, blah, blah. It was just... And then my mum, she might not know this, she bought me some sandals, but it was middle of winter. And it felt like she was saying... Look, you will see spring.
Yeah.
Here's some sandals, you will wear these. And it made me feel a lot better. And I was like, she's only bought them to tell herself that I'll be alive in spring. But it told me I'd be alive in spring. And anyways,
that's nice.
Since then I've calmed down.
Yeah, well, but I'm feeling quite chilled about it, to be honest.
I want to say about my friend that he said she shouldn't feel uninvestable. That's not. Is that word correct? Uninvestable.
I think so. At least I know what you mean.
Okay. He said Jess and me, but in the dating world, should not feel that way, and that he was on dating apps, and if someone said that, he would still be like, "Great, let's go on a date." I just maybe
Which I can't picture, but
maybe boys how sexist. Maybe they're not like as forward thinking.
That's sexist.
Sorry, maybe
they're all stupid. Just won't even read the bio and just take me out anyway.
Maybe.
I mean, I have dated some of the men that probably fall into that category. Previously.
Why not put it out there and give it a go and see?
Well, we got such good feedback from our questions. If any of our loyal fans have any eligible single men that want to maybe first initially listen to the podcast so they know the situation, so they don't have to explain it, and then we can go from there.
As we've said, it makes a big difference if people already know and we don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
So Jess, oh my God, she's on the scene. Actually, I need to say as well
on
that
the scene.
my friend,
Hardly.
but she's getting on the scene. This is it. This is your big release into the world. My friend Bradley has an app called Alive.
Yes.
And we are going to do a podcast with Bradley.
Yes, he's going to be a guest.
He's going to be a guest star, and we're going to do more on Alive. But that app is about people with cancer. It's like a dating app, but you don't have to date. You basically create a profile, but you can have some, you know how profiles are like age, job, I don't know what it is on a dating app. They literally didn't exist when Mark and I started going out. But you put them all on there. This is like what cancer you've got and other things, which Bradley will tell us more about. But it means that you can link with people in a similar situation. It might be what cancer you've got and open to dating, you know. So we are going to be making use of the app and speaking to Bradley and finding out more about that soon.
That's exciting. Although I did speak, one of my favourite nurses at the hospital, I basically just go in and chat to her for ages. But I was telling her, you know, I'm doing all these events and like meeting people my age with a similar diagnosis and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, that's a terrible idea. You can't both have cancer because then it's like, who's going to look after the other one?
We don't need looking after.
Being sick and having a sad chemo time to go, like holding hands in the chemo ward.
I'm just saying, it could, okay, yeah. But even on a by the way, it might be someone that's recovered from cancer. But also, fine, go on a dating app then.
I don't know. I mean, it was bad at the...
Yeah,
it's bad out there, Becky.
Is it?
Yeah.
But aren't there different apps that do different things?
Yeah, they're all terrible.
Okay,
maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe cancer's not even the problem.
Yeah, no, we're just using cancer as the excuse. I think it's the cancer. Suddenly no one wants to date me. I don't know why. It must be the cancer. Actually looking at Jess's history, it's like, the dates don't align.
Red flag. Am I a red flag?
She's not a red flag. Look at her with her thick, luscious locks. They're growing.
Yay!
So that's dating.
Yeah. Or the lack of it.
Or the lack of it.
So that's all the questions that we've got, I think.
Yeah, so if we get any more, we'll answer them at the back end of other pods.
Yeah. And if this has prompted any questions from any of you, if you want to know more about what we've been talking about, then just carry on asking us.
We love it. Get going in those comments on YouTube or on... We never checked YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Comments. I bet there's hundreds. I bet
from all of our new fans.
Yeah. But yeah, ask us anything as always. And like and subscribe.